Hi, I'm Brandon Naidu. I am a criminal lawyer here in San Diego, California. California has a three strikes law. That's no secret to anyone that violent crimes in California are considered strikes under the three strikes law. Three strikes, you're out, 25 to life. But there's a lot of information on what a strike is, what happens on a first strike, and we all know what happens on a third strike. But what is rarely talked about is that very important middle strike, the second strike. And what does that mean? If you have a criminal history and you have previously been convicted of a strike offense in California, any subsequent strike offense is a second strike, and that carries mandatory penalties that attach to the new case. The first major change is that the sentence is doubled from the original strike offense. So, for example, if you are charged with assault and battery with a deadly weapon, that is a violent crime, that is a strike offense, but you have a prior strike. Normally, your exposure would be 2, 3, or 4 years in the state prison. But because of that prior strike, you are now facing double the middle term, so double that 3 becomes 6 years in state prison. Additionally, you must now serve that sentence not at 50% of the time, but at 80% of the time because of that prior strike. You are also, and this is the most important aspect, you are ineligible for probation. You cannot get probation if you have a prior strike and you are charged with a new strike. Okay, so what do we do? How do we overcome that? Is there a way to get somebody probation eligible on their second strike? Is there a way for that person not to go to prison on their second strike, not to have to serve double the time, not to have to serve at 80%? And the answer is yes, there is a way to do that. It is not an easy way. What we have to do essentially is convince the judge assigned to your case, who is going to be handling the sentencing on your case, if you are convicted at jury trial or if you enter a plea agreement to the new strike offense, we need to convince the judge to strike your previous strike by way of what's known as a Romero motion. That is a very complicated process. It's not as simple as simply saying, "Judge, please strike the previous strike so that he's not second striked on this new case." It's not that simple. There are multiple factors that we need to prove up to the judge about who you are as a person, what exactly occurred in the current new case, what is alleged, and also what is very important is what occurred in the old case. For example, how long ago was the old case? Was your first strike only a couple years ago? Was it 5 years ago? Was it 20 years ago? That makes a huge difference in determining whether or not the new strike should be counted as a first or a second. Next, we need to look at the types of crimes. Is the current new strike offense similar enough in nature to the first strike offense, or are they completely dissimilar? Let me give you an example. We recently were successful in striking a client's previous strike, made him completely eligible for probation, and he got probation because his first strike occurred all the way back in 2006 when he was approximately 18, 19 years old. He was running with, the neighborhood kids that were gang affiliated, and they attempted to rob a liquor store. They were convicted. They pled guilty to robbery, which carried a strike. Fast forward 17 years, he gets into an argument which turns into a fist fight at a Major League Baseball game that results in somebody being seriously injured. He was charged with assault and battery causing great bodily injury, his second strike. We were successful in being able to demonstrate to the prosecution that, first of all, our client no longer associated with any of the neighbor kids, was not involved in any gang activity, had moved past, gotten his education, a great job, a career, starting a family, that this isolated incident 17 years later did not accurately reflect who he was back when he was a teenager. And for those reasons, we were successful in striking that previous strike. He did not go to prison. He did not spend any additional time in custody, not even county jail. And he is currently on probation and set to expire very soon successfully without all of those additional penalties that he was initially facing at the inception of this case. So if you already have a strike on your record and you've been charged with a new felony offense, especially if that new felony offense is a new strike offense, it's very important that you give our office a call at 619-577-0868.